Alright, hope everybody's having a good one. Welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator with Cookie Pirate. Today, we're flying the Cirrus SR22 in Canada, going from Old Crow in the Yukon Territory up to Inuvik in the Northwest Territory. It's going to be about a 45-minute flight, going at 19,000 feet, and 150 miles climb aboard. Let's go flying. I'm getting started a little late today. I was doing a little flying offline, then I had a couple things to take care of. And then I ate, and then I had to decide if I wanted to do a flight on here, and if I was going to record it or stream it, and then I had to pick the place. So I figured this would be a decent length and interesting because we don't really fly here much. But here we are loaded in on the ground at Old Crow. Old Crow sits on the Porcupine River in the Yukon Territory, a fair ways north of Dawson and kind of to the northeast of Fort Yukon in Alaska. Here we are loaded in. Battery switches on. Started. Strobe lights on. CDI to GPS. Initialize the right screen. Do we have weather here at Old Crow? I don't think we do. No. But it looks like, okay, 28 Celsius. It's fairly warm for up here. 2975. Well, the altimeter is preset, which is kinda helpful. We have a shortcut key to get the local altimeter. Of course, you can't do that in a regular airplane. But we are configured there. Let's go ahead and set our autopilot up. FLC 110. Altitude of 19,000 feet. Oh, come on. VNav on, nav on. Alright, let's go ahead and get the engine started. I had to check something on the other screen for a moment. Boost pump on. Mixture goes full rich. Throttle full forward. Then we'll close it and we'll bump it forward. And yeah, this is still stuttering. Probably after this I need to look into what is going on with this and figure out what I can do about it. Magnetos. Left wing clear, right wing clear. And crank the engine. Clear! Alright, engine started. Oil pressure is immediately up into the green. Temperature is rising. Battery amperage in the yellow. Turn the alternator switches on, and now it's good. Turn the avionics on. Not going to lean the mixture. Instead, we're right away going to do the run-up here. Because the grass strip. There's not really a good place to stop and do a run-up. So we're going to put the power up to 27% or so, trying to get 1700 RPMs. It's right about there. The first thing we'll do is the mag check. Alright. Good drop. Back to both. Now to the left. Good. Back to both. Our engine instruments are all in the green. No warnings, errors, cautions. And all our electrical look good so far. Let's turn the nav lights, landing lights, ice light, pitot heat on, and electrical systems are still looking good, so we can turn these off. We'll leave the nav lights on since we get ready to taxi. Go ahead and pull the power to idle. real quick, check the flight controls. Rudder is good, elevator is good, and ailerons are good. We'll go ahead and set flaps to half for taxi. Confirm flaps half on both sides. Back into the cockpit, and the last thing we'll do is check. Ooh. Yeah, that's why we checked that. Check our trim tab. And it is set to take off. Go ahead and release the parking brake, and we are ready to get rolling. So out here at Old Crow is a grass field. I think in the real world it's actually gravel, but here in the sim it's rendered as grass. Just really cautiously, we're going to make a hard left turn. We're going to taxi out. Look at the lake that sits right there, and then there's that a house on the other side. That's pretty. Imagine having that place. It's a pretty area. It's very warm here today. Alright. And I don't think we have really any reliable wind information. So, I mean, if we take a tailwind, we take a tailwind. So we're gonna go ahead and turn left, taxi down to the end, and then we'll just take off. We'll take off to the east, which will be in the direction of our flight path. And yeah, it looks like the wind is actually to the west, because the airspeed indicator is reading higher than our ground speed. So yeah, that wind is probably, that's a good 10 to 12 knot. So we're going to be taking off with like a 12 knot tailwind. I mean, we can manage with that. It's not ideal. Been able to pick that up, I would have turned around sooner and just decided to go the other way. But it's not a really big deal. We've got a lot of room to work with, and this plane doesn't take too much distance to take off. Alright, so we'll hit the brakes, get lined up here, plenty of room. Alright. Our takeoff procedure is going to be a little different because we're on soft terrain. In this plane, we're going to hold the elevator full back, going to put the power in, and we're probably going to lift off somewhere between 50 and 60 knots. When that happens, we'll lower the nose, accelerate to 77, and then we'll pull back and basically climb out in the low 80s like normal. And we'll engage the autopilot at 800 feet above the ground, which would be 1,600 feet in this location. And final check real quick. Mixture is full rich, boost pump is on, flaps are set to half, FLC is on, VNAV is on, nav is on, and our altitude is set for 19,000. Alright, here we go. I'm going to hold the brakes. We're going to go full power. Engine instruments are looking good. And yeah, you see my throttle won't even go up to full. Pull back on the elevator. I know you can't see that. But I'm holding full back power on the stick. I'll release the brakes. A little bit of rudder control. Airspeed is alive.
Stall.
Yep. Plane's up.
Stall.
We're going to lower the nose. Let the plane accelerate to about 77. There it is. We can start climbing. Bring the flaps up. So that is a little bit of a different takeoff procedure than what we normally do. Of course, the stall indicator goes off because the airplane lifts off at its absolute minimum flying airspeed. So that indicator gives you a warning. And we can actually lower the nose and let the plane kind of try to accelerate to about 103. But flying out like this is fine. There's 800 above the ground, 1600.
Engaging autopilot.
Autopilot's engaged. Oh, I forgot to turn the landing light on. No big deal. Alright. Not a quick look outside. Get all of these up here. This well, this is the Porcupine River, I think. So, town of Old Crow sits right here. There's the airport. This is the Porcupine River. If you look back that way, that eventually runs into Alaska. Porcupine River flows past a bunch of some forest and I think some flat fields, and it eventually merges into the Yukon, right at the town of Fort Yukon, actually, on the Arctic Circle. And we're a little bit above the Arctic Circle here. And, yeah. So here we are. Get a little bit of a view of the mountains. Pretty around there, though. And you get some more mountains out that way. Dawson is more to the south. Let's go back in. And we'll pull the map up and take a look at our route today. So here's Old Crow. Porcupine River runs down here, crosses into Alaska somewhere around here, and then there's the town of Fort Yukon. Our route, we're taking just kind of up over these flat lands with the lakes and the river, and we'll pass over some mountains, and then we get into the Mackenzie River Delta, some flat lands, and the town of Inuvik sits kind of in here. And the border between the Yukon Territory and the Northwest Territories is somewhere along here. So this is a different Canadian territory. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and let's see. We can go ahead and lean the mixture back a little bit. Throttle doesn't want to sit at full power. This thing is, yeah, kind of irritating. Not really stable. And I don't know what's going on with it. But anyway, we're climbing up to 19,000 here. And let me go ahead and pull the flight tracker up. Okay, there we go. Alright, I had to step away for a moment to make a quick phone call, so I apologize for the kind of silence there. The only thing that really happened is the pitot heat got turned on. And look out there at the lakes. It's kind of the flatter area, but you can see some mountains in the distance, and wait a minute. I'm not 100% sure, but I want to take a look out here. I think I may see the Arctic Ocean. Yeah, I am not 100% sure, but I think that might be the ocean. Kind of right up there beyond those mountains. It's probably very difficult to tell from. You know what it is? It is just beyond the mountains is the coast. There's 2 towns in Alaska. And then that's also Alaska, and then the Yukon starts, I believe, right here. Somewhere very close in that area. And then it drops down, and then the Northwest Territory starts kind of like here. Interesting. Good visibility, it's warm. It's -3 up here, 14,000 feet. Inuvik actually is setting a record high temperature the last couple days. I know it's early, but we can get the weather on the ground here. We can kind of plan, anticipate what we might be getting. Okay, yeah, here we go. Wind is calm. 15 miles of visibility. Few clouds at 27,000 feet. So that won't be a factor for us. 33 Celsius is really warm for Inuvik. And then 2973, which that won't matter for a little while because we set standard pressure at cruise. And if you look out that way, there's some kind of more rolling hills. Excuse me, out down toward Dawson. So Inuvik is the second largest, or no, I'm sorry, it's the third largest community in Canada's Northwest Territories. That's only behind Yellowknife and I'm pretty sure Hay River. Yeah. Yep. So Yellowknife is the largest, which is about the size of Whitehorse. And then Hay River, and then Inuvik. Home to 3,000 people. So, for perspective, it's about double the size of Dawson. And I believe it is also Canada's largest town above the Arctic Circle. There's a couple other communities up there on the Mackenzie River Delta nearby. Aklavik, Fort McPherson, and this is a fun one, Tuktoyaktuk. Say that a few times fast. If I'm pronouncing that anywhere near correctly. Tuktoyaktuk is, yeah, and in the local language, that means it looks like a caribou. I'm not making fun of it. I think that's actually really funny to somebody who isn't familiar with the way, because it just sounds fun to say. But you know, it's so cool that they take just those phrases or those meanings, and that's what they name their towns after. You know, there's been a large revival of these native cultures up in these communities. That's really cool, you know? The origin, the history, stuff like that, I think it's invaluable. Okay. Well, in the meantime, we leveled off, and I was reading about the town. So we set the standard altimeter, pull back on the power, switch our fuel tank because I left that on, then we can turn the fuel switch pump off, and pull back. I bumped the power up a little more, and now I've got the sticky throttle, is kind of making it difficult to set power how I want it. Set 20 per gallon. And about a half hour. I really like when I click on this to try to use it, it just covers up the screen for me. It's difficult to see what I'm actually trying to look at. There's the hills. Here are some of the mountains we'll be passing over. And you can see where the land gets flat in the distance. That's the Mackenzie River Delta, and that's kind of about where we're heading. To get into Inuvik. pretty nice and easy laid back up here. It's beautiful. Minus 12 Celsius at 19,000 feet. And yeah, keep in mind we are above the Arctic Circle. I don't know if this late in the summer, Inuvik gets midnight sun. I'll look it up. Okay, no, I didn't think so, but it's we're not quite 2 months from the solstice, so that is starting to moderate out a little bit. But up here, sun rises at 5:47 a.m. local time, and it sets at midnight. So you do get midnight sun as the sun is up at midnight, but it's not the true midnight sun that, you know, doesn't stay up 24 hours. It does get that from what looks to be May 24th all the way to July 18th. And then you get the polar night from what is that, December 5th? Yep, December 5th all the way to January 6th. You get polar night. And January 7th, the sun is up for 51 minutes. 51 minutes of sunlight. Oh man, can't imagine. I'm sure it's beautiful. And yeah, we're just about halfway. We're kind of flying over these mountains here, and now you can most clearly see the Arctic Ocean up here. Now the coast kind of cuts back from coming up north in Alaska, and it kind of dips down. And if you look out that way, there's the river delta. And if you go out of the cockpit and you kind of zoom in, you can see a little bit better. Kind of the river delta here, and then it opens up into the ocean, out over that way. So yeah, not all too far removed from the ocean. The Mackenzie River runs, if we're going the opposite direction, upstream. It starts here, where kind of I was showing you, and it runs right around, not through, but close to Inuvik. And then it goes kind of south to the southeast, down past Fort Good Hope, Norman Wells, Fort Simpson, and I don't remember, I think it runs away from the lake where Yellowknife is, and it runs kind of down along the edge of the Yukon Northwest Territory, down to Fort Nelson, and then into, I'm not totally sure. Fort Nelson might be Alberta or British Columbia, I'm not 100% sure. But for comparison, it runs south far enough to where it would be about the same latitude as Juneau in Alaska. Now this is a pretty area. I mean, look at this, it's absolutely beautiful. See some light cloud cover up that way. You get a view of the mountains, you get a view of the flats, the lakes. Out that way, some more mountains. And yeah, we are still over the Yukon territory, but not for long. We're just about to pass into the Northwest territories, and we're just over halfway along our flight. See the Mackenzie River a bit better out here in the distance. Whoa! Alright, now take a look out there. You can see the ocean, and it starts to be the Mackenzie Delta. 19 minutes. We're going to have to start plotting a descent here and an approach into Inuvik soon. Wind 23 knots. We're getting a 14 knot tailwind, which is helping us out. 226 along the ground. Let's see what is available. They do have the ILS. Should we grab the weather? Or are we still 68 miles away? So we should be able to pick it up. No. Alright, let me check, make sure it hasn't really... I'll go into the map, make sure there's not any substantial updates, but we need to start a descent here pretty quick. Wind is still calm. 2300. No, it's 00000. So it actually has not updated yet. Alright, tell you what, we're going to go ahead and plot course for the ILS. Shoot. I can't preview it right now. Oh, there it gives us an indication for top of descent. Alright, so go ahead and do is lower that. And with how flat it is in the area, we can... We're basically good to descend right down to... Right down to 2,000. And let me just take a look at the approach there. No, that has us flying a course reversal. We don't want to do that. Okay. So that's probably going to have us start early. What we'll do is actually change... And I don't have the chart because this isn't a US airport. I don't have the jet charts. I could look up the Transport Canada maps, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to set the visual, and we'll set the straight fix before the final fix. And if we set direct, yeah, oh yeah, perfect timing. Okay, that's going to start us on our initial descent. So we're going to go ahead and pull the power back to about 38 to 40%. Yeah, 37. 38 there. Keep us maintaining that speed. And yeah, still just waiting for updated weather. It should be coming through in the next few minutes here. Need to get the altimeter setting here. Yeah. 2973, that's right. We'll go ahead and dial that in. There we go. And yeah, you can see we're kind of at the tail end of the mountains. We are in the Northwest Territories now. And, see the Arctic Ocean, Mackenzie Delta. Let's grab a quick view out of the cockpit. We're still slowing down a tiny bit. Bump that up just a little bit. Now here we go. You look behind us, there's the mountains. You look to the south, it looks like the mountains become a little bit fewer, but maybe a little higher. Now you certainly can't see back to... No, maybe a little bit, but Old Crow would be kind of way back in the area. It's not visible, for sure. Looking for the town, I'm not really able to pick it up quite yet. I'm guessing it's probably around here or around there. I'm not certain. A little tough to see. Surprised it's still not picking up. Let's check the map. There we go. Okay, yeah, the weather. No, it still hasn't updated. That's really weird. Wow. Okay. I mean, the main thing is just to have the altimeter. I mean, it is visual conditions, but still. I'll give it a few more minutes. There's usually a 10-minute or so delay from when the weather actually comes out in the real world to when the simulator processes it. Still don't have any real luck picking up the town. Huh. Okay. I mean, it's tough to see if you look at the terrain. You have all of these really small little lakes and then patches of forest, and you have the Oxbow lakes formed from kind of the curves of the river, and then they change course. But if we take a look here, we're basically right over the Aklavik, which is right there. Aklavik, that's how you say it. Aklavik, maybe, I'm not sure. Airport, and then Inuvik is out here, and yeah, I guess that's the only other airport around. Oh no, they have a couple that are not showing up. Oh no, there's the... yeah, Tukta Yaktuk. I love saying that. It sits, yeah, there it is. Okay. So that's still a fairly... I mean, that's almost the length of the flight back to Old Crow. Touch back on the power there. Still looking. Over here, maybe? Still not sure. Basically just passed right over Aklavik. Or Aklavik. I never know which way you're supposed to pronounce it. But if you take a look right there, there's the town and there's the airport. So really small community. That is pretty. I bet that would be a pretty place to land. This area, if you think Alaska's remote, I think much of the Northwest Territories of Canada is even more remote. I mean, even the Yukon is much more remote overall. So much wilderness. Okay, I think I've got my bearing now. I think the airport's right there. And the city might be right over here. Or the town. By definition, it isn't a city. But we should have a pretty view of it. -12°C, we can go ahead and turn the pitot heat off. Let's go ahead and prepare for descent here. We're still fairly high up, so we don't need to... Do we need to enrich in the mixture? No, it's in the green, so we're good there. We can turn the boost pump on as we warm up the fuel vapors. Landing light can wait a little bit. Mixture will leave. So once we turn on the final Mixture will go full rich, landing light will come on. A lot of flat land, a lot of forests, a lot of lakes. It's almost like low-lying, almost like a marsh, sort of. I mean, these up here, definitely. Definite lakes. Take a look back there. There's the Mackenzie River, I'm pretty sure. That's fairly wide. So I think that is the river. This right here could also be part of it. You can't quite see to the ocean yet, or anymore. So we're descending. Oh, I need to run my dishwasher. I kept feeling like I forgot to do something here today. And, yeah, no, I just forgot to run the dishwasher. After I finish this flight, I'll go do that. Oh, man. Anyway, stick to the task at hand. Now you can definitely see the airport now, the approach lights on both ends of the runway. And that leads me to believe that the town, or the community, is... Oh yeah, definitely. It's right out there. I don't know how good of a view we're going to get of it, unfortunately. Based on what I'd looked at, I was believing it was going to be, we were going to be flying over it, at least closer to it. But, oh well. We might get a good view off the left wing as we come down. Maybe we'll change the approach real quick here. So what we'll do, we can choose the ILS. And I am going to set the heading bug real quick. Flight present heading. And we're going to choose vectors, activate the approach. And now it switches. And all we need to do is actually just change our heading. Just for a short time. To intercept the course. Alright, let's do final items here. Landing light on, mixture goes full rich, boost pump is on, don't need to do anything with the flaps yet. But we will here in a moment. Nope. Doesn't want to fly it? Okay. Whatever. Take us right through the localizer course and don't turn to intercept. Glorious. We're gonna take some power out. We're gonna get the plane slowed down. And I'm expecting it's just gonna kind of take us on waves through this. No, it actually is turning us. Is it gonna track the course though? The glide path? Maybe? Yeah? Take the power out. We're actually good enough to go half flaps. So let's go ahead and do that. Put the power back in. Zoom in on the map there. We can see a little better. Quick weather update. Tell me we have it. Yes, we do. Okay. 150 at 4, so the wind is coming kind of like this. It's almost a crosswind. 130 variable to 280. That's a huge range. 2971 on the altimeter. And still 33 Celsius. Yeah, it's 29 Celsius right now. Alright, we need to disengage the autopilot because it doesn't want to fly. Get full flaps. Doesn't want to fly the glide slope at that point. For whatever reason. The autopilot in this plane trying to fly approaches, it doesn't want to ever cooperate for whatever reason. Taking the power out, trying to descend back to pick up the glide path. There it is. Add some power in. And we're just hand flying the airplane. And there's the town, but we don't really get a great view of it, unfortunately. That's kind of aggravating. Not really set up on a super stable approach like I'd like to be, but we're doing okay.
500.
There's no VGSI, so no like glide path, no VASI or PAPI lights or anything, so we are relying on the localizer, and we're high. So we can kind of take that out. Just a little bit hazy. It's not too bad though. Right at our approach speed, we're on the glide path, roughly. Take that down a little more. And there's an X on the runway, which would indicate it was closed. At the time the scenery had that, probably. We got a flare. We're carrying a little more speed than I'd like. Maybe minus 30. Alright, let's get on the brakes because here's the next turn, and we miss it, we have to taxi all the way back. There we go. That ended up being a pretty decent landing. I thought we were going to come down hard there for a moment. I'm just bummed out we didn't get to see the town as closely as we did. Right, flaps are up. We're taxiing in. Where are they going to park us? Are they going to park us, or do we just choose and park ourselves? No? I don't see anybody with any ones trying to marshal us in. Ha! Yeah. We'll just turn here and park. Alright. Hit the brakes. Now let's set the parking brake. Power should be idle. And of course it keeps stuttering. Kinda crazy. Landing light off, nav lights off, and we will go ahead and turn avionics. Alternator switches. Idle cut off on the mixture. Alright, we go 49 minutes. Took just a tiny bit longer than expected. Negative said 45. Clear that indicator there. Strobe lights off and battery switches, and then mag switch to off. And there we are, folks. Welcome to Inuvik in the Northwest Territories of Canada. Hope you enjoyed the flight from Old Crow, and hope to have you aboard on the next one. Until then, you all take care. Stay safe. We'll see ya.